Hello. I want to welcome everybody to my webinar. My name is Andrew Summers, and I'm really excited to have you here. In the next 60 minutes, you're going to discover my proven scale system that will drive qualified leads from Facebook to call and hire a law firm. This system will work for you day and night. It works while you're sleeping. It works while you're working. It works while you're playing with your kids. It'll work while you're playing golf. It works all the time. There's no open, there's no close. Just open for business 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. And it will make your phone ring constantly with qualified leads who want to hire your law firm. The qualified part of that statement that I just said is really, really important. I'm going to explain that in a little bit later on. So, are we ready? All right, let's go. I have a lot of information in this webinar, but I've broken it down into easily understandable morsels I know you're going to be able to understand. The biggest takeaway you're going to get from all of this is how to drive 25, 50, 75 or more phone calls per month to your firm with Facebook ads. You're also going to find out a huge mistake, extremely expensive mistake that many small firms are making when they're trying to market online. It's costing them time, it's costing them money, and both of those things could be used to make them much more successful. So if you're ready, I'm ready. Let's get into this, and I'm excited to be sharing it with you all. Internet marketing is full of these gurus, and some of them are great, and some of them have a ton of information, and it can be gathered, and it can help you become much more successful. But unfortunately, a lot of these people are out there right now promoting a huge fallacy, and it's just flat out bad information for small firms and sole proprietorships. If you went on your own, which you did, this big fallacy could actually be working against you. And I'm going to expose that a little bit later on. I'll be showing you the 4 simple things you must have in place to go out, crush your goals, and make your phone ring off the hook with qualified leads using Facebook ads. If you're watching this and you're a sole proprietor or a partner in a small law firm who is just overwhelmed with the daunting task of marketing online, if you've searched around, if you've researched, or if you just don't even know where to start, I've heard from so many attorneys, they're just beside themselves. They don't know what to do. They don't know where to start. They don't know who to trust. If this sounds like you, then I'm really glad you're here, and I have the solution for you. And if you're sick and tired of getting told the same wrong things that you need to pour money into, for example, SEO, and pay someone exorbitant amounts of money to really never get any results, you're in the right place. And I'm really glad you're here. I have owned several small businesses, both retail and professional. And I love being my own boss. And it's just exhilarating. You open your doors, you set up your desk, and you put your, stapler down in the phone. And I remember the very first day we installed the sign on my very first business, and it was just completely surreal to see that sign going up. And I was absolutely on top of the world. I can picture myself just craning my neck up and looking and just astounded that this was happening. But I can tell you, 20 years later, 20 years of being my own boss, it can also be an extremely emotionally draining thing. And I've been pretty far into the depths of despair over some of my businesses before, and it affected my ability to work, it affected my relationships, it affected the kind of dad that I was, which I just really couldn't accept. It affected everything, and it made me feel tremendously guilty. And then the other side of that is when I would go and try and do something for myself, either with my family or just playing around a golf, or I'm a hockey player, I was out playing some hockey with the guys, I would feel this pangs of guilt because I felt I should be addressing some issue at work. I had a pile of bricks, a mound of work to be done, And so you really have this pull from both sides. And it's terrible. It can be really terrible. So if you've ever felt that guilt one way or the other or both, then you're definitely in the right place. I can definitely relate to you, and I have a solution for you. When you were like in high school and someone asked you, they said, what do you want to do with your life when you grow up? What is it that your plan is? Maybe you were the first person in your family to become a lawyer, or maybe your father or mother was a lawyer, or both, sometimes I guess. And so you said, I'm going to be an attorney. I haven't met anyone who was headed off to be an attorney whoever said, and also, I want to learn all about marketing and do my firm's marketing myself. I just have never met that person, and I don't really think that person exists. And so, if heading out to become an attorney was your goal, and marketing fell into your lap, you're in the right webinar, and I have an answer for you. So here's my promise to you. If you're listening to this webinar, I'm going to show you how to create a Facebook ad system that will market your firm and drive qualified leads to call and hire you. This system will work for you 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. I'm also going to show you how to scale that system based simply on your ability to handle incoming leads. And the one thing that is absolutely key to all of this is that it doesn't take up your valuable time. You don't have time to do work on marketing. You're busy, and you're going to be even busier with the influx of leads you get from this system. I'm going to show you how to administer this system, your system, in less than 15 minutes a week, and even offload the simple administration of this to your husband or your wife or your secretary if you choose. Does that sound good? Great. So I'm not selling anything in this webinar, but I hope you stay to the end, because at the end I do have a special gift for you. And this information that I'm going to give you in this next 55 or so minutes can truly change your life. So I hope you stay with me. I'm going to ask you some questions here. I'm going to ask you if some of these things sound like to you. Do you just want your phone to ring with people who want to hire you so you can gain some traction and then start developing a referral network from it? Get a little bit of motion to your firm. Do you know that going out to every mixer and meeting and joining every association it's just a completely inefficient way to progress your firm? You can't be like 100 places at once. And what are you giving up to go to these events and work these networks in terms of your time away from your family, or just time for yourself to reset so you can come back tomorrow and do a great job? My father, he still is. He's still practicing, just has a couple of clients, but he's an IP attorney, and he was, when I was growing up, he was always off at a convention or some association meeting or some conference trying to network. And the old days, the way that they did things, he was on the board of several of these associations, and it was great at the time because it was the only way that you could really go out and try and expand your network and get more clients. But it was an incredible time drain on him, and he was really exhausted. That's what I really remember about my dad growing up, was he was exhausted. I felt terrible for him. He worked so much, and then he refused to have us live in the city. We lived in Los Angeles, so he had us out in the suburbs, and he would snake down the 405 in bumper-to-bumper traffic for an hour and 15 minutes and then drag himself to some meeting in the valley to try and network and find himself some more work, and then drag himself back in the morning and then drag himself back again. And it was terrible. I mean, it was bad for him. It was bad for me, my sister. And the fact of the matter is, and I'm going to elaborate on this a little bit, but you know this as well, those mechanisms for getting clients that used to work, that he used to employ, they don't work anymore. and they're highly wasteful of your time. They just don't work like they used to. In fact, they're probably returning pennies on the dollar like they used to in terms of your time. They're just the old way, and now there's a new way. Are you sick and tired of dealing with marketing your firm? Do you wish there was a way to find a solution that was effective, that didn't require interaction, that there was a way that you could create just like a machine and your phone would start to ring and you could then offload this and get this off your plate? Does it frustrate you knowing that if you aren't marketing your firm, then nobody is? One of the things I always talk about with people who are sole proprietors or just have one partner is this big pile of bricks. I used to talk about it with one of my partners all the time. You have this pile of bricks that represents all the things in your business that you don't like doing. And what's so frustrating for attorneys and other sole proprietors is when you leave at night, when you lock the door and flip the lights off and look over at that pile of bricks before you walk out, you know that when you come back, that pile of bricks is still going to be there. And there's not going to be any bricks moved from one side of the room to the other. The magic brick fairy doesn't come along and wave her wand and they get moved. They're just sitting there. And it can really get overwhelming to just have the thought of that waiting pile of bricks back at work, and it just permeates into your life. When you're at your kid's soccer game or you're out on date night with your wife or your husband, and your mind just drifts back to this work and it just interrupts you. And I can 100% relate to that. I know exactly what that feels like. So if that's you, then I can relate, and I'm happy that you're here, and I have a solution for you. And one of my mentors, he has this story he likes to tell, and I'm just going to summarize it briefly, but basically he says there's a little, well, it's not really a little, but there's a lie of sorts that's told to lawyers in law school. And it's not really like an overt lie, but it's just kind of inferred and tucked in there that if they work really hard and they pass the bar and they go and they get a nice shiny desk and a comfy chair and they put the open sign out, that somehow clients are just going to walk through that door. Somehow the world's going to recognize all of the hard work that they put in and just reward them by just paying them for their services. And when that doesn't happen, a lot of new lawyers, they kind of get really shocked. They get really depressed. And then they think, I have to now go out and learn how to market myself, which is something that they never taught me in law school. I never learned about it, never touched it. And if you've been frustrated with this, just the entire principle of having to market yourself, I'm really glad you're here, because I hear that over and over and over again from attorneys. And when people need a great lawyer, they should come to you. When a lawyer needs unbelievably great marketing, I hope they find their way in this webinar, and I'm glad that you have, because that's exactly what can be accomplished here. Have you tried to market your business online, market your firm online, and gotten lackluster results, if any at all? If you want your phone to ring off the hook so you can get back to what you're great at, which is being a fantastic lawyer and taking great care of your clients so that they can refer you and bring in more business to you and remain clients for life. If you've been in a marketing freeze of sorts where you're trying to figure out the best avenue to direct your hard-earned dollars to get the best results, or just sitting still, can't get any traction, anything, if any of these or even all of these things sound like you, then this webinar is going to give you a solution, and I'm excited to have you here. I talk to a lot of attorneys, and I can tell you a lot of them feel like the deck is just stacked against them. They think they can't compete with the big budgets for the big firms, or they keep investing in the wrong solutions, and they just feel like they can't break through. And they're really frustrated, and it really elicits this gut-wrenching nausea, just this emotional overload and not being able to get their message out and get their phone to ring. My father was actually forced out of his firm after the dot-com bubble, and he took just a few clients with them, and he started to work from home. And I saw him trying to market himself and just really never getting anywhere with it. You know, he's from the old school. He actually just kind of semi-retired. He gave up, and I really couldn't blame him. And this was many years ago, before I started my journey into marketing, and I saw the effect that it had on him, just not having the tools. He really just couldn't find the answer, and I would talk to him about it. And I didn't have the answers, but I would talk to him about it. And it was just a shock to me that I said, well, how are you going to get new clients? And he just didn't have an answer. He just didn't. He had been in this institutionalized environment, and he was now out as a sole proprietor, and he just didn't have an answer, and it was devastating to him. And I really wish I had known then what I know now. My dad's a very happy man. He plays bridge all the time, and he's great. But I wish I had had these tools that I have now, and this knowledge that I have now then, because I really could have helped him succeed in an amazing, amazing way. Have you ever been so discouraged that you thought you might have actually made a mistake by going out on your own and starting your own firm? I have had attorneys tell me this, basically holding back tears. Is your firm giving you all that you deserve for the effort, the stress, the sacrifice, and the energy that you're putting into it? Or is it just giving you all the things that you don't want? If you just had it, and you just want all this fixed, you don't want to have to deal with it anymore, you want it to run automatically, and you want the success you've worked so hard for, then I am here to tell you I've found the answer in this webinar, and I am going to show it to you. The emotional and physical toll of all this stress and worry, I can tell you it is damaging you physically, emotionally, and in every area of your life. I've been there. I know the effects. You can see them a little bit when you're in it, when you're in the middle of the cloud. But I can tell you, having broken free from it, once you break free and look back, you'll be amazed at all that you can see and how overpowering all the anxiety and stress was in every facet of your life. It steals time from one thing to be able to do another thing and try to juggle your work and your family, maybe even see a friend once in a blue moon, and it can just completely overwhelm you. And I've felt it, I've lived it, and I've had attorneys tell me over and over again that's exactly where they are. All these things that I've been describing, these are really just symptoms of this big problem. And the reason why I created this program is to address the real problem. All of these other things, they can just fade away when you get down and you address the core. And I'm here to tell you that you're not alone. I've been there. I've seen countless others that have been there. There is a solution. I have it, and I'm going to show it to you in this webinar. These things are all things that attorneys have told me that they're either being told or they've tried, and I can tell you each one of them is a money-wasting rabbit hole that is easy to fall down. You don't need a more color-coordinated, beautiful website. You don't need to pay someone tons of money for SEO every month. You don't need to try and trick people into calling you to just inundate your phone with people who aren't going to hire you. And they're going to waste hours and hours of your time on the phone, and they're not going to hire you because they're not qualified. You don't need to think of some clever email every day and some witty tagline with it and then just send it out, hoping it doesn't immediately go into people's junk boxes and just praying that they even read it. You don't need to learn how to code. You don't need a special skill. Facebook's already taken care of that for you. If you don't have a system, you have a system, and it's called anarchy. It's no system. You don't need a new shiny template website, and they are all templates, I assure you at this point. Even though they tell you it's custom, it's not custom. It's just their template that they're using over and over and over again, changing out the photos, changing the color, and promising you it's going to get your phone to ring because now don't you look so professional. A web page is just a business card, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit more later. But at this point in the online world, yes, you need a website because yes, you need a business card. But at this point, they're just about one and the same. Your system, whatever it is, it's the wrong system. That's the big problem. The energy you're outputting and the money you're spending, it's all feeding the wrong machine and wasting money left and right. Does any of that sound familiar to you? Was I describing you in any of the things I just talked about? If I was, then you're on the right webinar. I have something amazing for you. It's going to change your life, and it's going to get that 1,000-pound phone to ring off the hook. All right, we're starting to get to the good parts. This is the part that gets me exciting. I'm excited. It's enough of that drab and dire. All right, we're going to get to the good stuff here. I just love talking to people about this system. I just literally sat up straight in my chair because this stuff is what gets me jumping out of bed in the morning. Once you deploy this proven system, you're going to be able to leverage the absolute incredible power of Facebook. You're going to be able to have your phone ring constantly with qualified leads who need no closing, salesy closing, used car salesman lines, no catchy cold call scripts. These people are going to call your firm's phone and they're going to be qualified to hire you. They're going to know you. They're going to trust you. They're going to like you, and they're going to understand your services. And they're going to want to pay you for the solutions that you can provide them. They are simply going to be calling you to hire you. Your conversations with these people during your inbounding process are going to be incredibly short and direct, and your phone conversations are going to go through the roof. Your conversions are going to go through the roof. You're going to own a system that is automated, that is scalable, that's going to work for you every minute of every day, 365 days a year for years and years to come. It's amazing, and I'm really excited to share with you. I cannot wait to see your reaction when you're just growing like gangbusters and making more and more money. Once the system is in place, you'll be able to quickly and easily adapt it to go after new areas as your firm grows. The system is incredibly adaptable and can rocket launch you in a new area. It saves you a bunch of time and money. And best of all, you're going to be growing your practice day by day and making more and more money. You're going to get back your life. You aren't going to be running around chasing your tail all the time. You'll have tons of work. But with that steady flow of work, you'll be able to find balance and get back the time you deserve for the other things in life that are so important. Family, time for yourself, all of those things. You'll be able to get your stress level way down. You'll probably lose 10 points in your blood pressure because you're probably going crazy, stressing yourself out day by day. The word marketing, it's not going to be a curse word anymore. Imagine that, thinking marketing as a great thing instead of this looming cloud so many attorneys have described it to me as. You're going to be able to watch as this system helps you create the wealth and success you deserve. I just love watching the metrics of this system and how it uplifts clients and changes their whole lives. It's amazing. All right, are you ready for the good stuff? Let's get to it. Let's get to it right now, as a matter of fact. The scale system. I am so proud and excited to welcome you to the scale system. It is going to change your life. It really is. There's 4 components to the scale system. You need each one of them to drive qualified leads to call and hire you in numbers that you've never had before. None of these things are secrets. In fact, you probably are doing them right now to some degree, just not correctly. Doing them correctly is the key to truly incredible results. So who am I? Who is Andrew Summers? Well, I opened my first business at 24, and I've not stopped owning, operating, marketing, and consulting on businesses since. I had a really steep learning curve. I spent a lot of money learning things the hard way for a really long time, longer than I would care to admit. I've had successes, I've had failures, but at this point I really wouldn't trade any of them. I learned, as they say, it's super cliche, I've learned way more from my failures than my successes. They led me here today, and I absolutely love what I'm doing, and I love helping people to be as successful as they deserve to be, and sometimes a little bit more. I just love it. And I'm going to lay all my cards on the table here so you know exactly who I am. I haven't taken a single formal marketing class in my life. I have never sat in a classroom and turned in work or taken a marketing test or took notes during a lecture. I've never done that. Everything I've learned has been through really top level, expensive mistakes early on, and then hiring top level, and I mean top level coaches and mentors, leveraging the best parts of each of their experience. These are people that have used their system to generate millions upon millions of clicks and millions upon millions of dollars in revenue. And I've taken their cumulative knowledge and I've forged it together, taking the best parts into the scale system so that attorneys like you can become wildly successful. I was born on the East Coast. I grew up on the West Coast. I kind of have a sense of humor that's both sides. My father, he said one day, I'm not going to shovel snow anymore. And he packed us up and he took a partnership out in LA. And so off we went. And is a little bit still an IP attorney. And when I was a kid, he told me he went to work and drew the little R in a circle on things so nobody could copy them, the little registered trademark R. And I think I believed that for many years. I'm not sure when that fell off for me, but it was a good while. And my late grandfather, he was also an IP attorney, and they worked together for many, many years until my grandfather retired. And was summers and summers. And one day I was 9 and I was at a family barbecue and somebody asked me, Andrew, what are you going to do when you grow up? And I said, what most sons would say, grandpa was a IP attorney, don't really know what that is, but dad's an IP attorney, don't really know what that is, but I'm going to be an IP attorney and I'm going to draw those little R's in a nice shiny office. And my dad, he must have been having a bad day because he turned to me and said, why the hell would you want to do that? I guess he wasn't really happy at work at the time, I don't know, but it's a great story and I remind him of it all the time and we laugh. And it's a good one. And I have a beautiful, smart, amazing daughter, and she's going to college out here in San Diego, beautiful, sunny San Diego. And she's going to be an engineer and has indicated many, many times the very many ways that she's going to save the world. And she's crushing it, and I really couldn't be more proud of her. And I start to talk about her, and I could drone on and on. I'm smiling pretty big right now just talking about her, as a matter of fact. But she's amazing, and I love her very much. And I have an absolute stay up all night, find out everything, know everything, watch every webinar, buy every technology product, test it out and see what works, what doesn't, love affair with marketing. I literally cannot go to any business anywhere without looking around the systems, be it like I look at the Fry guide to the way the floor plan is, or looking at their marketing materials, or asking them how they market, or what parts of their business make the most money for them, or who are their ideal clients, and just trying to see what would work better, or what isn't working, or trying to figure out why they're doing something one way, or trying to figure out why they're doing another. I just love it. And it just doesn't even seem like work to me. I could talk about it all day. I could do it all day. It's my passion, and I'm really grateful to get to share it with people and help them become more successful. It's an amazing thing to be a part of people's success, and especially when it's something that I'm so passionate about and I love. And when it comes to marketing and systems and work, I just love creating passive systems that work all the time. Creating wealth, creating success while you're eating, you're sleeping, and you're living your life. It's just amazing to be able to create and get results and the changes in people's lives. It just makes the work not seem like work to me at all. It's just not work. It's just a gift to be able to help people. And I'm truly, truly grateful to be able to do so. So how did I discover the scale system? Well, at the time, I had just opened a professional services company, and we had a little bit of success, and then we really, really flattened out. Our sales systems were all completely manual, and they required a lot of time and effort. They were expensive, and they just ended up kind of not being efficient for that reason. Kind of the whole industry wasn't efficient in that way. And we were buying leads, which got more and more expensive. And sending out weak mailers, which required tons of proofing and editing for each new message and all kinds of content creation. And we hired a marketing company for, I hate seeing that number up on the screen. You're $30,000. And they pretty much gave us a pretty website and a brochure that didn't really even kind of meet our target market that well. A few mailers. What else was it? Oh, a logo that was straight out of a logo factory that I know that they just subbed out to somebody else, and it was really generic, and I hated it. And that's just about it. It was a horrible, horrible waste of money. And it was a massive time drain on top of it because it took forever for them to even produce that terrible stuff. And they needed tons of our input, and it was just a nightmare. And it really made me, it's making me right now, and it made my blood just boil. And then it drove about 0 leads to our phone, just about 0. It was just a complete disaster. And personally, at the time, I was completely overloaded, being pulled in every direction with staff and just simply doing the work. I did not have the time to do a bunch of marketing. I put my trust in these people, and they flat out just didn't deliver. They didn't deliver at all. I needed to do something, and I needed to do it fast. I needed to be working in my business at the time and not on my business. I was determined to make sure I just didn't throw more bad money at the problem. So I researched and researched into the night. Literally, I stayed up till 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning researching for top level mentors and coaches. I contacted a bunch. I researched several of them. And then I hired like the cream of the crop. And they were expensive. Really expensive. And this is from a guy who just said he dropped 30 on a marketing firm that did nothing. I mean, these guys were expensive. Expensive. So I hired several of these expensive top level advisors, and they were amazing. And there was a reason they were expensive. They shared incredible knowledge and systems with me, and I immediately saw this incredible power and leverage that they were employing, and realized that the money I'd invested had probably been the smartest money I'd ever spent in my life. The money I spent on these advisors was just the smartest money I have ever spent, and probably ever will have spent. So I set out and consolidated the best parts of each of their processes, and I created the scale system. So something dramatic has happened in marketing. It happened while a lot of people were not paying attention. And in particular, it happened to a few industries, and legal was right at the top of that list. Right at the top of that list. Offline media conversion levels dumped into the sewer. Never have offline media options converted at such a low level. There was a time when I was a kid where if you had the best business in town, if you open up the yellow pages and, Joe's Plumbing was on the inside of the yellow pages, and that was the greatest thing. And I realize I'm going way back here, but since that time to now, it's just continued to lower conversion. And a lot of attorneys, it just haven't realized that time has long since passed. And they're sending out mailers and they're doing these things. And yeah, they're getting a couple of hits on them, but the amount of effort and the amount of money could be spent so much more wisely, because offline media is just dying. Referral networks, and by that I mean like the way which people seek out and offer referrals to each other, those referral networks moved to Facebook. People knew that if they needed some help with something, they type, "Hey, I need blank," into Facebook. They'd get referral upon referral from 10, 15, 20 other friends. Immediately, they would just start getting referrals. And so these networks, this network of referring, if it's not your name being mentioned on Facebook, then you're probably getting your referrals poached out. If you type, "Hey, I need anybody know a good real estate agent?" Never type that into Facebook, because you're going to get 50 referrals immediately. I mean, everybody's going to be calling. They're all going to be hitting you up for months and months and months. So another thing that happened is that your potential clients, just about everybody's potential clients, but lawyers definitely, your potential clients are all engaging groups on Facebook to become better informed and to collaborate with each other and to understand and get knowledge and research. And it's a really incredible, effective way to get knowledge about just about anything. And I do it myself. I sit in my jammies and I interact with people like me and talk about marketing or whatever it is from the comfort of my own home. You know, my groups are top level marketing masterminds, and other people look for the other things. But the concept is still the same. If you want to find me and people like me on Facebook, you just have to seek out the related groups, and boom, we're right there. Your customers are doing the exact same thing. When they have legal questions, when they have questions related to the law or engineering or any subject, they're finding their answers on Facebook. This last point, I think it was about 1994. I saw this commercial and the website address on it. I think it was for Sony. I'm pretty sure it was Sony. And it said, you know, Sony. It was for their new television at the time or whatever. And at the bottom it said Sony.com, you know, HTTP www.sony.com. And I was like, wow, amazing. You know, that's so cool. I was working for America Online back then. Some of you may not even remember what that is now. But anyway, I was so amazed that this is so cool. It's going to be so huge. You're going to be able to go find out about businesses and their services on the internet. You know, that I can go look up Sony and find out about this new TV. You know, they're telling me to do it, and I did. And then fast forward 20 some odd years, and websites, which used to be the most important thing you could have to market your business online, are just about the least important part of your marketing your business online. It's true. That company built me a pretty website, and I can tell you because I personally reviewed the analytics after we poured content SEO and more content into it, and it just sat there like a business card thumbtack to like a bulletin board at the gym. It just sat there looking all pretty and not making me a single dollar. So there are 4 myths that attorneys seem to believe, and well, a lot of business owners believe too, but the attorneys I speak to, a lot of them really believe these myths, and they really cause them to fail to take advantage of this incredible opportunity that they have to get leads from Facebook ads. And as a result, they're missing out on a ton of success and a ton of money. The number one response from attorneys that I get that's completely false and is so unbelievably common that makes my head spin is, I don't think Facebook ads will work for my market because, and then they have some reason why. And they're always wrong. And I'm not trying to sound rude, but it's not just in this market, it's in every market that people hear this, but attorneys, for some reason, I hear it a ton. I don't think it's going to work because I do this. I don't think it's going to work because I do that. And nothing could really be farther from the truth. I can't blame them if you aren't using Facebook ads correctly, if you're not using the processes leveraged properly, then you could easily waste a bunch of money on Facebook ads and get a terrible result. If you're not leveraging amazingly like the scale system does, then you could make it so Facebook ads don't really work out for you. You have to do it right, but if you do, there is absolutely fantastic success to be achieved. The second big myth that attorneys subscribe to is that more money will fix bad systems, and it's simply not true. There is a specific reason why this is completely self-defeating, and I'm going to tell you about it in just a minute, so hold on to that, because you're going to understand why this myth is completely busted, to borrow from one of my daughter's favorite TV shows, Mythbusters there. But hold on to that thought right there. But I'm telling you, this myth is 100% busted and 100% not true, and I'm going to explain why. So, again, I can't blame attorneys for believing this. They've tried and failed, and they put bad money after bad money. They're using the wrong tools, the wrong system, and so they get this perception that nothing works. And I can tell you that the scale system and the processes contained therein have already generated millions of dollars in revenue and millions of clicks. It's an absolute fact. And unfortunately, for those who don't find the right answer early enough, their businesses will suffer, their lives are going to suffer, and they could go out of business. And I like this guy. He looks like, I wonder if that is Danny DeVito. It looks like Danny DeVito playing a used car salesman. I love that picture. But, I sympathize with this thought, because if you start down the wrong roads, then it'll feel like it's a huge scam. But if you get the right tool, the results can be absolutely amazing. And with the scale system, they are. So This is old school, and old school is old school for a reason because it's dead. It's been obliterated by Facebook perfectly and completely. If you don't go out and get your customers using an effective system, your competitors are going to. And they may do it poorly and their acquisition costs may be sky high, but enough of them will try it and they'll poach potential clients right out from under your nose, even if you've shook their hands. You simply cannot shake enough hands or be at enough mixers or conventions. You can't be everywhere at the same time. And you can't overcome the advantage that people have if they're marketing properly on Facebook. It's just not even close. Facebook marketing using the scale system is systematic, it's scientific, it's psychological, and it just works incredibly well. So I'm going to show you now using some hard data exactly why you need to use Facebook ads to get qualified clients to call your firm. Exactly why. Are my clients on Facebook? Well, let's take a look. After the fourth quarter of 2017, Facebook had 2.2 billion, that's billion subscribers. China has 1.4 billion people. India has 1.3 billion people. The next four on the list, US, Indonesia, Brazil, and Pakistan, all together have less than a billion. Facebook has 2.2 billion people. 2.2 billion people is just an incredible, unfathomable, it's an incredible number. It's like beyond comprehension, that number. Do all 2.2 million people, 2.2 billion people, excuse me, I can't fathom it, I can't even say it. Do they all want to hire your firm? No, they don't all want to hire a firm. But your clients are on Facebook collecting in groups and learning and interacting and engaging. Are they doing that? They're absolutely doing that. The next closest competitor to Facebook in the social media world has a 500 million less users. 500 million. That's 500 million people. 500 million people. That's a lot less clicking, or not clicking actually in that case. This is a really interesting story. I bring it up to illustrate a point about Facebook. Facebook paid $19 billion. Again, that's a billion with a B. Billion. $19 billion for WhatsApp. And I would be willing to bet that out of the 100 lawyers, any group of 100 lawyers that are listening to this webinar, 99 of them just said, what is WhatsApp? And you're not alone. WhatsApp is a chat app, and it was starting to show some tremendous growth internationally. So Facebook, being the big kid on the block, they had two options. They could either crush them or buy them. And for them, for their own reasons, buying them was a better option. And they happen to have an extra $19 billion or so just laying around not doing anything. So why not? Boom, they just gobbled them up. And Facebook can afford to pay $19 billion to gobble up a competitor. There's just never been a powerhouse like that. They're just the absolute king. They're the king of the block. And there's a 500 million reasons why nobody comes close. So, so this is, having a teenage daughter, this one hits pretty close to home. So, everywhere you go, you're waiting in line at Chipotle. I love Chipotle. So, you're waiting in line at Chipotle, and there's 12 people in line, and what are all 12 people doing? 10 years ago, they might actually have interacted with each other, but they're not. They're all heads down in their phone. If you're in line at the gas station, the guy next to me in traffic on my ride to work, unfortunately, terrifyingly, everywhere you go, everywhere you look, people with their heads down, buried in their phones. They spend 5 hours a day consuming media on their phones. That's amazing. 5 hours. I used to think I was kind of bad with my phone, because I work and, I'm on my phone for work and emails and everything. I used to think I was kind of bad, but I saw that 5 hour stat. I don't spend 5 hours on with my head into my phone. What are these people all doing? But they do. And I felt better about myself when I saw that stat, as a matter of fact. And even more amazing is just that on average 10 hours across all their devices. And people are just consuming information. And they're right there waiting for you to get your message to them on Facebook. They're right there. They're right there. So this is amazing. A third of all Facebook users engage with their brands regularly. That's 733,333,333.333, and then keep on going out with the 3 people. Don't be the 0.333 people. But That's 733 million people researching, buying goods and services. They're seeking out experts. They're asking for referrals, and they're on Facebook 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. It's a bonanza, and it's just an incredible number, an absolutely incredible number. And they're not just a bunch of teenagers, and they're not just a bunch of retirees, stay-at-home dads, stay-at-home moms. The Facebook audience spans every category, young to old. My 75-year-old father, he likes my jokes on Facebook, and he keeps in touch with my aunt in Toronto, his sister. Every education level, every occupation, just everyone. They're all on Facebook. And on average, they're on Facebook 8 times per day. All right, so I'm getting really excited. We're getting back to the good stuff. So pay close attention. This is where we're going to get into the meat and bones of the scale system, and I'm going to show you how to get your phone to really light up and sing with qualified clients who want to hire you. I'm ready. You're ready. All right, let's go. Step 1. The scale Facebook ad system is the first thing you need. You need the right Facebook ad system. The scale Facebook ad system is designed specifically to save you money first and then make you a ton of money. It's been perfected. It's been perfected over hundreds of thousands of dollars in ad spend. It's razor sharp. It cuts right through. It'll get to your customers. It'll get them to engage with your Facebook ads. And the principles that have been perfected in the scale Facebook ad system have been proven and reproven and improved and improved and improved to become the most effective means of getting your message to potential clients in history. There's literally never been a better way to get your message to your clients in history. Unfortunately, for a lot of attorneys, that they're using the wrong Facebook ad system, or they're not using a Facebook ad system at all. All ads are definitely not created equal, and not by a long shot at all. If you don't use the correct variables and parameters when setting up your ads, you're throwing a lot of money out the window. The scale system uses the perfect ad options for attorneys and makes sure every penny that you spend is stretched as far as possible. Many attorneys, they don't even use a strategy or a system. They just kind of fire up an ad and put a picture of themselves sitting at a desk or something and then press the start button. And they just spray an ineffective message as many directions as possible, and they hope they eventually, or like accidentally, get some hits. And this is a real waste of time, a tremendous waste of time, and even more importantly, it's a tremendous waste of money. It's they're using a sawed-off shotgun, and they need a sniper rifle, and the scale Facebook ad system is a sniper rifle. Messaging, it's an art and a science, and it's an exact science, to be correct. It's very precise. There are things that your messaging absolutely must contain, and if you aren't messaging correctly, you're letting clients slip right through your fingers. So I was saying that messaging is a science. Messaging is such a science that it's literally dialed down to the exact amount of letters that should be in your Facebook ads. That's one of the parts of it. Like the amount of letters that are literally in your ad have that much of an impact. And when the rules and this scientific evidence isn't employed properly, you're really shooting yourself in the foot. You're getting out there, you're spending the money to put yourself in front of people, and you're not converting. And the power of leverage is working against you. And when you don't have a plan, you can't figure out what your results are even telling you. They're just firing from the hip towards any like shiny object. And even if they get some small successes, it's ineffective, and they have no understanding of why or where from. They can't learn from it, and they can't improve their response because they're just shooting blind. And this last point is all about, psychology. There are psychological triggers that need to be employed in marketing. Most Facebook ads I see do not leverage the psychological principles of messaging. And as a result, they're ignored, they're misunderstood, or worse, they're just hit the person in the face and they don't motivate the clients to act, which is the worst of all. You've reached your correct audience. You got them to read your message. They read it and then they did nothing. Absolutely nothing. So what's the problem? You need an incredibly effective Facebook ad system that will make every dollar and every penny count to give you the most return possible. It needs to interrupt. It needs to engage your audience. It needs to leverage all of the incredible technologies that Facebook has created that so many people are not using properly. You need a system that will make your phone ring over and over again with qualified clients. I'm super excited to present the Scale Facebook ad system. The Scale Facebook ad system is really, really smart. It continually tracks, it improves itself over time. Your axe just gets sharper and sharper and sharper, and your results just continue to improve and improve and improve. The Scale Facebook ad system will hone right in and pinpoint what's working the best, and it'll quarantine and eliminate what's not being effective. This is the absolute key to getting the maximum bang for your buck. The Scale Facebook ad system messaging leverages all of the research and psychology of messaging perfectly, and it drives messaging that your potential clients will understand and act upon. I read this book. And it's a marketing book, and the author talks about this principle he calls the UGG test. Basically, he says that your messaging needs to be understood in 3 seconds by a caveman. And if your messaging doesn't pass the UGG test, then you're losing engagement and you're losing money. And the Scale Facebook ad system messaging passes the UGG test every time. People will know who you are, what you do, and what you want them to do immediately. And they're going to act on your messaging time and time again. You can tell I'm getting excited. Are you guys getting excited? I hope you're getting excited along with me. All right, let's keep going. So Facebook is really, really good at one thing, and that one thing is keeping people engaged with Facebook. They're the best. They're the best that's ever been at keeping people really, really engaged with them. And you know, it's happened to me. It's happened to everyone. You go to check in on Facebook for a minute, and 20 minutes later, you're commenting on someone's poll about some pair of socks they want to match with their tie or something like that. And I've done it. Everyone's done it. Because, again, Facebook is amazing at keeping me on Facebook. It's amazing at keeping you on Facebook. It just does it really well. And Facebook, that's their whole driving force, and it's the whole driving force of their marketing. Facebook employs the same principle to marketing. It wants people to be engaged with their advertisers. It doesn't want a bunch of ads on there that people aren't engaging with, that people are getting annoyed with. So it wants ads that people engage with, because what does that do? It keeps people on Facebook. So the way that they reward successful marketing and mercilessly punish failure, and they do it in the most effective way that they can. They make effective marketing cheaper, and they make ineffective messaging and marketing more expensive. And so the Scale Facebook ad system leverages this principle to drive down the cost of your marketing, allowing you to hit a wider audience for the exact same amount of money. And then what happens? Your phone rings that much more for the same amount of money with qualified leads. I'm going to tell you that a long time ago, I spent a ton of time and a ton of money using Facebook advertising the absolute wrong way. It makes me pretty mad because I feel like I should have known, but there's kind of a little caveat to all of that. And that's that Facebook kind of sort of encourages mistakes. It's like a little checkbox here back on the third panel that's already kind of checked by default and hidden back on the screen, and people don't really look there, or there's a little suggestion that Facebook will make that could be right for some people, but it's wrong for a lot of people, and it's going to steer you down a wrong road, and it's going to cost you a lot of money and results. And I fell into those traps a long time ago before I buried myself in this. I fell in those traps for quite a long time, longer than I'd like to admit. And the Scale Facebook ad system will eliminate that waste, and it employs proven ads that work time and time again. there are different formats to Facebook ads, and I have to tell you, they're not all created equal. Some work extremely well for one thing, and others work extremely well for another thing. The Scale Facebook ad system navigates these choices for you, and it makes sure you're using the right tool for the job every time. So when the right messaging and the right tool are employed together, the results they're nothing short of incredible. And this might sound like a little bit of an overstatement, but the results prove this beyond a shadow of a doubt. There has simply never been a more effective way to communicate directly to your prospective clients, to engage them, to pre-qualify them, and then get them to call and hire you in history. The Facebook ads system leverages the ultimate marketing tools to their maximum potential, and it gets your phone to ring over and over again. It's just incredible, and it's the pinnacle. It's the top. There's just never been anything like it. So, okay, are we ready here for step 2? Let's get on to step 2.